there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we are talking, because we're confirming for real this time, that Tea GIF is officially canceled. Claudia Jordan posted on her Instagram, unfortunately, Tea GIF will not be returning to Foxhole after our hiatus, 2019 and 2024. What a run. Soulmates, I love you, and you already know I'll never stop pushing to give y'all more shows in the future, you guys. And said in the caption, I tried, y'all. I really did, with praying emojis and a heartbreak emoji, you guys. So let's talk about it. Did this Carlos King interview that just came out the other day, did that seal the deal? Did that seal the deal? Because essentially, Claudia Jordan, basically threw Al Reynolds under the bus, exposed him to an extent, but also left a lot out to where she basically put it out there if, the show ends up getting canceled, that she'll come back and spill the tea and tell all, right? But it is messy, child, in the comments on her page. You guys, that is where the tea's at, right? So, Tamika Foster, Usher's ex-wife, is in the comments saying, love you and sorry. And, Claudia Jordan's like, thanks, friend. Love that I got to interview you in studio. I'm going to post some throwback clips. Somebody else said, no. And then Claudia says, girl, I told you he was going to tank the show. Mission accomplished. And then somebody else said, I knew Al was a part of the cancellation. Super disgusting the way to end such an excellent run. I remember the first time I watched TGIF. Funky was drunk as a skunk on episode 2. So much memories. Love you, Claudia. Can't wait for your next show. Claudia says, he sure did. Well, now I can share what really went down. I will never speak to that man again after what he did to a great show. And so then somebody else asked, Claudia, can we get the whole story now? She says, oh, you bet. And then somebody else said, this was irreversible. It has been a great run. Thank you for getting us through COVID. Wishing you and Al the best. And Claudia then says, Al can go to HELL. He is a huge part of this, you guys. And then also says, wasn't this already public news? Because we've been basically saying for weeks that this was over, right? And Claudia says, well, only because someone, in all caps, was leaking to Sandra Rose before the rest of us for the official news, the teacher's pet. So basically allegations that Al Reynolds was leaking to the blogs in advance that the show was over. And then somebody else says, that's crazy. That roast actually ended things. I really like the show and watched every single episode. We'll always support you, Claudia Jordan, in whatever you do. And Claudia Jordan replies, it is not the roast, you guys. And then somebody else says, thank you, Armand. You really bleeped up the thing in my funky voice. And Claudia says it wasn't his fault. He came into a messed up situation. Then somebody else says, horrible news. This is all Al's fault. Acting like a diva behind the scenes, being messy with his high yellow, high booty self trash emoji. And Claudia Jordan replies with the 100 emoji. Then another blog is asking for Claudia to respond to their DMs. Claudia says that she's blocked for another day on Instagram before she can talk to the blogs. So really the basis of the interview that came out with Carlos King, I'm trying to remember. So she talked about her relationship with KJ, why that fell apart. Talked about another relationship that she was in and why that fell apart. Talked about how Cocktail with Queens happened and how it got canceled. Basically, it was because of the budget. Basically, because all of the other women were already established celebrities and they were getting paid way more than everybody at TGIF was. So essentially, basically, it was too expensive to produce. Because it was too expensive to pay established stars, established Hollywood stars that are going to command a lot more, to do that particular job. And so nonetheless, they said, we're just going to cut the show all together. Talks about how, TGIF came together, how they were at Cynthia's wedding to Mike Hill. It was her, Funky Dineva, Al Reynolds, and Gary with the Tea. They did a test pilot and Fox liked it. Also talked about how she used to have more influence and had a handshake deal of her being the face and having, you know, this role at Fox Soul, but it was in name only. She wasn't getting compensated for her ideas and all these things. And, you know, the person that she had that connection with is no longer at Fox Soul. So then that kind of, you know, also diminished some of the power and things that she had in making decisions. Also said that originally the show itself started out with a 6-week contract, and then it started to pick up, and then they started to renew a lot more often until they ultimately got a bigger contract. And she said she didn't know that Funky Dineva had a 6-month contract. Then she also said she had nothing to do with Cocktails with Queens being canceled. Also, Gary with the Tea couldn't do Tea GIF because of his show with Ricky Smiley. It was kind of a conflict of interest. Claims that she doesn't have any hiring or firing power, saying Armand Wiggins adding him to the show was not her decision. That's not what she had wanted. Then also, she also wanted to say as well that Armand basically came into a situation that was already jacked up. That it was already a mess, and you know, a lot of people are blaming him and blaming all these things, but nonetheless, it sounded like she was basically trying to make it seem as though Tea GIF still was possibly going to come back, and that she was trying to save the show, and that she couldn't tell everything about Al Reynolds at that point in time. But my thing is, why even put that out there? If you know somebody, if you guys are alleging that Al Reynolds supposedly has all this power behind the scenes with these producers and executives at Fox Soul, if you know he is actively trying to sabotage your show, why are we telling everybody while you're trying to negotiate to save the show? Why not protect the brand, protect the show, so that you can still try to fight for this thing? But to put out this interview when this quote-unquote hiatus is really a pre-cancellation in itself, this seals the deal. This made the decision easy for them. And I'm sure it didn't help matters that Al Reynolds was probably complaining about your interview as well. And was probably complaining, oh, she's trying to slander my name, she's trying to drag me, she's trying to come for me, and blah, 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 blah. We need to just go ahead and just throw this show away. No. Here's the thing, right? Let's say Claudia is right. Let's say that Al Reynolds is responsible for all this, right? The one thing I would say that the reason he would probably do something like that, if this was true, allegedly, according to Claudia Jordan, is he's jealous because nobody cares about him on the show. Nobody cares about his opinions on the show because a lot of the times he doesn't have the background, he doesn't do the research, he doesn't have the wherewithal. Say what you want about Funky Dineva, but at least he had background on the things he talked about, even if you completely disagreed with his opinion or his take on things. He actually knew what was going on, but that's not the case with Al Reynolds, and that wasn't the case as recent with Armand Wiggins, who didn't know about the, military and stuff. That was embarrassing. But nonetheless, I just don't understand how a $250K bag or more has been fumbled like this. Here's the thing, you guys. I'm never working with friends. Why? Why? Because here's the problem. And you see it on these housewife shows. These people that come in that were friends, right? But then what happens to all these friendships? All these friendships fall apart. All these friendships never become the same anymore because everybody gets jealous. Everyone has an ego. Everyone thinks that they're the draw, that they're the prize, that they're the celebrity, that they're the most wanted in the group, out of the ensemble, out of the cast. And it causes division of everybody. Even when Funky Dineva would get backlash, people still would drag Al Reynolds for filth, you guys. Because a lot of his takes were just completely and utterly tone deaf. We gotta call it for what it is. But there is a lot of blame to go around because the moment that the show was on hiatus, there was just a lot of mess that was happening from all sides. And although, you know, Reynolds technically wasn't vocal, he technically had people who was close to him that basically was doing his bidding with several other content creators slash YouTubers slash bloggers that were putting all this stuff out there. That people were already confirming that the show was over and done with, even though Armand and Claudia was steadily saying, hey, no, we're just on hiatus. It just happened a little bit earlier than our, 4th of July break, but we're going to come back in a couple of weeks. No. But again, although Claudia is not saying that it's not because of the roast, that there had been stuff going on as well behind the scenes prior to that, I just think the timing of it all is just sus, right? Because nonetheless, the viral clip of him calling into Funky Dineva's live, which he did tonight as well, right? Funky Dineva really didn't talk about the Fox Soul thing. Like, he talked about it briefly, but said he didn't know anything about it. Conveniently, Reynolds is FaceTiming him. And Funky Dineva's like, I'm at work. I'll call you back. I guess he's in Italy getting drunk or whatever. But nonetheless, said that he has nothing to do with the show being canceled, doesn't know anything about it, doesn't have any details, doesn't have any tea, and moved on to other topics, you guys. But fumbling a $250K bag via Zoom, you guys, I just don't understand it. Why would you want to sabotage a show? Why would you want to tear something down? You already know how this parent company treats black people and what they think of black people to begin with, right? And it's clear as day, they were trying to build up the black demographic, the black and, minority demographic, because obviously their main cable channel attracts a certain demographic that is not like us, you guys. So therefore, they're having these shows that have, black hosts that are going to talk about, black culture, black topics, black trending, black sports, black news, black celebrities, black reality stars, to pull you all in, you guys. And all of it was via Zoom, right? And you'd be live, you could interact with everybody in the chat, and all of these things. And because of the success of the show, because remember the show originally only came on a couple days a week, right? But then once they canceled Cocktails with Queens, they then moved TGIF to 5 days a week. But apparently, how Claudia is explaining this Funky Dineva thing, now she's saying that there's no bad blood, and that apparently what was happening was somebody else was playing Run 12 that and was telling Claudia and Funky Dineva different things about each other. And apparently there's allegedly some producer that really is being messy behind the scenes and telling people not to call Claudia Jordan for anything, not to talk to Claudia Jordan for anything. And it is just a hot mess. But basically Claudia is saying that the fans and people that were messy got involved. Now I will say this. I will say that there were a couple of comments, I believe, on Funky Dineva's chat that completely twisted around something Claudia Jordan said in her live, completely made it seem a lot worse than what it was, made it seem like she was shading Funky Dineva and all these things. And then that's when Funky Dineva went off, right? And called, and called Claudia Jordan out. And then eventually they had to, do a ceasefire and make peace or whatever and decide, hey, we're not going to talk about each other anymore and all this stuff. But this is just mad. This is absolutely mad, you guys. Imagine you guys sitting at your house via Zoom and maximum 8 hours a week to talk about celebrity news and gossip, to talk about reality TV news and gossip, you guys, and trending topics for the culture, right? Like, this is like the opportune time, right, to come back Because you guys could have did a breakdown of the BET Awards, what you thought of the Usher tribute, what you thought of the fashions or lack thereof, and the lineup at the BET Awards. There's so much content that is out right now that you can talk about. There's so many trending topics. Another accuser has come out against Diddy. Diddy is selling the mansion that got raided for $70 million. There is so much to talk about, you guys. But unfortunately, you guys, when people have their egos bruised and people are jealous of other people that they work with, and instead of working together and appreciating the bag and appreciating the opportunity, things go completely left. And I find it funny that Carlos King is saying Claudia Jordan is the face of Fox Soul, Claudia Jordan is X, Y, and Z. The same things that he says to Melody Cherie Rogers, you guys. But who is the person that is getting maligned? Who is the person that's getting dragged when things go south? Who is being blamed for everything when things go south, you guys? Now, I'm not going to say that everybody is innocent, right? Because there's no such thing as perfection. Did I think it was okay to, go into the chat when the first episode of Tea GIF was no more, when people thought we were getting an episode after the roast, after the Star Jones episode debacle snafu with Lunel? And somebody's in the chat going back and forth with people and saying that they're trying to call out Reynolds and he's not answering, he's not returning the phone calls and all the things and trying to make things right. I just don't understand. See, I would have been on the mute challenge to be like, listen, I am the professional one in this, and I understand it's hard to hear people say X, Y, and Z about you, right? But if you really had that power to, do the negotiations and try to save the show, why wouldn't you say anything until, there was a final decision? Because for all we know, this show could have still been on hiatus had this Carlos King interview not happened. I mean, how is it within 24 hours this is announced after that Carlos King interview? And you actively know at least one of your co-hosts is responsible for the show being on hiatus in the first place because they wanted to take the show down. They either didn't like the show anymore, didn't want to be a part of the show anymore, didn't like you anymore, didn't want to be friends with you anymore, didn't want to work with you anymore, whatever. But this is messy, you guys. This is messy. This is unprofessional. This is ghetto. Like, I don't understand how you fumble a $250,000 bag. I don't. Via Zoom, via your house, you guys. Imagine relaxing, you guys, at your house, in your office, feet kicked up, and all you have to do is an hour, max 2 hours a day, and you technically had Fridays off if you're taping the Friday episode on Thursdays, you guys, to talk about celebrity news and gossip, to talk about reality TV and gossip, and not have to do a traditional 9 to 5, you guys, not have to drive into an office somewhere, you guys, but could be in the comfort of your home on Zoom talking mess about these celebrities, you guys. And getting so much money for it. Getting at least at the minimum $250,000, you guys, pre-tax. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. But there's going to be so much fallout, you guys. There is going to be so much fallout. There is going to be so many people that are going to be running to the blogs, that are going to be running to their favorite YouTubers and content creators to spill the tea. And this is about to get messy. This is about to get very, 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 very messy, right? Because people, thought that Armand killed the show. They thought the roast really was what got the show canceled. And, Armand was fighting back and saying, listen, you guys don't know. It's just a hiatus. It's just temporary. We're going to be coming back. And here we are. And the show's not coming back. Right before the holiday, you guys. Fired on the day off, fired on vacation, you guys. Fired on quote-unquote hiatus. Fired during contract negotiations, you guys. But clearly there is a miss And there is somebody, obviously, whoever is new at Fox or Fox Soul or what have you, that is in charge of the programming, that is affiliated with Fox Soul, did not want to see Tea GIF move any further. And it didn't help that if allegedly at least one of the hosts of the show is being messy behind the scenes trying to get the show taken down. And it doesn't make sense. Nobody is watching that court of a public opinion mess when the episode that I watched, because it was about Love and Marriage Huntsville, they didn't even have the facts. They didn't even watch the show or watch the episode to properly state what the facts were as it pertained to the custody battle, you guys. And that's when I knew what time this was, right? And it explained so much the behavior that was on the show. But now, here's the problem, right? Because now people's reputations now are going to come into play on who has the better relationships in this entertainment industry, right? Because you have one side of things, if you're, believing Claudia Jordan's version of events, which is Al Reynolds destroyed this, is what is being alleged, right? And trying to throw dirt on her name, trying to take down the show. Well, is his name going to be of concern of other people in this media and entertainment outlet where people may not want to work with him if he truly is this messy behind the scenes and is unprofessional? But again, marrying somebody to deceive them out of their coins in the first place, I wouldn't have worked with to begin with. Right? I should post the video, the clip where he's saying he's completely heterosexual. Like that there was no, like I need to post that video so bad because I believe it was an interview with Lily Dot O'Brien back in the day, and it was shortly after the divorce from Star Jones, and Mr. Now saying obviously a different tune, but saying he was completely heterosexual, isn't gay, isn't bisexual, said maybe you can call him quote unquote metrosexual, you guys. But there was nothing that was, wrong about his sexuality, that he was completely heterosexual with Star Jones, and now somehow the tune has changed. The tide has turned, you guys. Now all of a sudden Star Jones knew it all. Come on, you guys. Come on now. Like, it is just a mess. This whole thing is an absolute mess. Like I said, I can't imagine fumbling a $250,000 bag. I don't know what's happening. I don't understand why this took place. And it's just sad. But again, never work with your friends. Never work with people who, again, if you know that they're a certain level of messy, even on a friend level, it probably is not a good idea to offer them these types of opportunities. Because ultimately, that level of messiness and unprofessionalism is going to rear its ugly head, you guys. There are some friendships, there's some people that you can just kiki with and keep at a distance, but doing anything further than that, it's a no. It is an absolute and utter no, you guys. So there is that. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.